Okay. Hello? I actually do not know how my audio is sounding right now. I hope that it's balanced decently enough. How my audio is sounding right now. I feel like it's actually not that high up. Hello, Ruined Rose and Daniel Bass. I'm going to just turn down the music a little bit and oh shoot. The OBS wasn't picking up the audio the way that it should have, and it seems to have entirely reset everything, including all like the push to talk and condenser and etc. Stuff. So I hope that my audio is not too bad. Can I just first find out if anybody... Do I sound cognizant? Do I sound... What would be the word? The audio version of legible. Now regretting not taking notes beforehand. But good to see there's streamers or viewers who are trickling in. Hello, Zach. Did I mute and then not unmute? I'm not seeing responses from the chat. I want responses from the chat so that I can at least get right to it. Oh, is it a latency thing? It might be the latency. I don't... There might be a tiny echo coming here soon. There might be a tiny echo coming here soon. Oh, my audio sounds so low. I'm trying to hear it back. Shoot. Uh-oh. Here's what I'm gonna do. Okay. I should now be much better. I think if I did this correctly, I should have just reapplied several filters. Yeah, my noise suppression, compressor gain, limiter, and expander are all now on here. Limiter and expander are all now. Okay, yeah. I just heard myself back a little bit, and that sounds much better. If I could just get confirmation from someone in the chat. I also just turned up the... I just realized I had the volume a little low on the mic itself. So hopefully that's good. Can anyone hear me? I knew I should have done some test streams, or a test stream, or recording. But I just wanted to get to it. Konta, loud and clear. Okay, great. So now that you guys can hear me, let's jump into the announcement. So we are going to be playing some Hearts of Iron 4 today, Kaiserreich, naturally. And I thought I would actually start with us not on that menu and with that music and just try to have a separate association here with this makeshift press conference setup I have done and the Victoria 2 music. So let us jump right into it. What you are watching, I hope somebody has timestamped in the future, coming just straight to this point and skipping over the fiddling with audio. But this is the beginning of my last campaign on this channel. Just ripping the band-aid off. And I just wanted to talk about here at the start, and of course this is going to presumably be a campaign that goes hours and hours and hours and will take many days. An unknown question mark amount of days, because we're not going to stop until I accomplish the goals. Of course, meaning there'll be breaks. I'm not going to stream for like weeks straight and sleep on stream. But um, the reason that I'm doing this is well, because I hope that you are somebody who is watching this in the future, preferably years in the future, because you are wanting to go back and hear CHG when he was CHG. By which I mean, I want to. I have decided that I am. I knew I should have made notes. I'm going to create a different YouTube channel, a channel whose name I will not be giving deliberately, because I have different goals of things that I want to do on this platform, different from what the Conquering History Games channel is supposed to be. And we can talk about all of these things in detail as the campaign starts and goes on. But I want to do more educational stuff, to put it succinctly. That was originally why I wanted to get on YouTube, and as for those of you who've been around since the very, very beginning of this channel, will know this was actually a spin-off of that one, and it just completely took on a life of its own. And so I guess I should also say early on here is I want to express gratitude to anybody who's ever been a fan of mine, whether that is donating super chats or liking, subscribing, sharing, talking about me, making clips. I know that there's clips of me out there. And this is a channel that, gosh, I haven't even seen what is my subscriber count right now. It's at least 25,000 at the time that I am doing this. And oh gosh, of course somebody's calling me right now. Not now. Leave me alone. But this channel, a funny story about this specific channel is that this is actually the second Conquering History Games channel that there has been, because I had actually started up a channel called Conquering History Games, and I did stuff on it. I made my Kaiserreich guides, and I think my first ever campaign was a Huey Long. Oh my gosh, Daniel Vasing, I remember watching your channel in middle school. Tomorrow I'm starting college. Well, first off, congratulations on that. Good luck with whatever it is you study. And that's what this is. I kind of want to refer to, incidentally, I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to refer to this last campaign that we're doing as like the graduation campaign, to borrow slang from other parts of the internet. This is not, I'm not, nobody's taking me out back behind a shed and shooting me in the head. Although, depending on how our campaign goes, maybe we'll do that to some other people. But it's just that you need to think of this as me graduating from Conquering History Games, and then I will be entering into something else. So I'm sure if you run in the circles of the internet that involve you watching Hearts of Iron 4 streamers, you'll one day find me again as well. Just because we all seem to watch the same people. It's the history community on the internet is a big, small town. Anyway, gosh, why didn't I do notes? The Blood Riders are here. But this is the second CHG channel, because I had actually made one before, and I just had was putting up a couple of videos saying this is how you do things in Kaiserreich, and they suddenly were blowing up, and the next thing you know, I had 2,000 subscribers, and I was of course very happy with that. And I then wanted to, I was just having some technical issues with the channel, and I had to, without getting into the details of it, I had to ask myself if I wanted to delete it and started it over again for long-term gain. And I ended up doing that, and I deleted it and restarted, just same channel, same content, and I was upload. So if you go back to the very, very, very beginning videos of this specific channel, which I don't know how long you'd have to scroll to get there, because according to my when I look at my own account, I literally have over 2,000 videos on here. But if you go to the very, very, very beginning, you'll probably notice a bunch of stuff all being uploaded at once, concurrently, all these various campaigns. And the reason for that was because I started by re-uploading everything that I had used to have on the channel, on the old channel. So like, I know that the first campaign I ever played on YouTube under the name Conquering History Games was the Huey Long one in Kaiserreich. This was so long ago. I think this is before the Pacific States were even allowed to be a thing yet. And but I don't know what the first actual videos are on this exact channel, because they probably have changed or are different. And incidentally, I encourage everybody to do that trip down memory lane. Just go back and even just look at the thumbnails of all the campaigns and stuff that I used to do. You'll probably find it quite interesting. But like, I remember I received criticism when I started up this one. People saying, "How could you delete your channel? You have 2,000 subscribers, and now you are left with nothing." And I've got at least 25,000 subscribers today, which, oh yeah, I was supposed to be looking that up. Which is, hold on, let me go back now and check again. Yeah, 25.6 subscribers today, so over 10 times as many as I did when everybody was telling me that it was never more over than it was right at that moment. That's actually a big part of why I think I could do this again. That I could go out, start a new channel, and make something bigger and greater than this, I think. Not that this has not been great in its own way. So maybe this is all stuff that we could talk about more. And I probably should, I probably should put something in the chat and pin it. I'm going to put CHG is announcing his graduation. Graduation campaign. This will be the last campaign he does on this channel. Pin that, so I'll just leave that up there for maybe half an hour or so. So I just wanted to, of course, as I said before, express gratitude to all of the fans, and then we're gonna start Hearts of Iron 4 here in a minute. But I know this is also the history channel, not just the gaming channel. So I thought I don't know. I felt like the occasion required something of other. So I hope that by the end of somebody will remind me before I end the stream today to do a reading from the, of course, eternal Lessons of History by Will and Ariel Durant. So I'm not going to actually do that now, I think. But what we are going to do, let me explain what the goal is. And yeah, either I or somebody's going to need to go in and timestamp today's stream. And hopefully the future ones. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to boot up Hearts of Iron 4, Kaiserreich. And we're going to play as the Combined Syndicates of America. The reason why I chose this to be my going out campaign is I thought I would do something different. It's a nice blend of the new and the familiar. Because it actually is the CSA, which a lot of people have pointed out over the years, that was an inspiration for what ended up being the logo for my channel. Many people have sometimes assumed that means that I am myself a syndicalist. Obviously, I've never talked about my personal politics before. I'm sure not going to start now. But I was realizing the Kaiserreich stuff was blowing up, and I thought, well, shoot, I need a channel logo, because I think I just had CHG in red letters on a blue background or something, nothing fancy. And I ended up deciding, well, let me do a modified CSA, because the CSA, the Combined Syndicates of America, is a major faction in Kaiserreich. It's a huge part of the lore, and people are learning about it, and people will get it. So it's kind of like a signal for people who who know what's up, who play Kaiser Reich, so they can go, oh, this guy's for real. He's like more dedicated to Kaiser Reich. He's not just kind of playing it in passing. Goodness, I've been playing Kaiser Reich for at least 6 years now. However old the channel is, yes, that long. Whenever, but anyway, so of course I modified it. Instead of CSA, it was CHG, and it changed with time. Of course, I didn't make the specific design that you see before today. I had it commissioned. But even that, modifying a lot of that was, I learned stuff along the way. And so the CSA, I feel, would be a good one to end on, but also because we're going to do a particular Combined Syndicates of America campaign that I've actually not done before, or at least I should say has never successfully completed before. That being the Combined Syndicates of America doing a non-totalist run. Now, if you go back, one of the I've had a lot of ebbs and flows, mountains and valleys, we'll call them, over the course of me playing games on this channel. Sometimes I've had more activity, sometimes I've had less. But one of the peaks I ever had was around kind of late 2018. There was a huge update on the Americas in Kaiser Reich, and I was playing all the different paths. It's like practically everything, it seemed. I did a Pelly's America, which I as far as I know, to this day, I'm maybe the only person on YouTube who had the huevos to, play Pelly's America. But I did that, and Quincy, and Foster's America, and the Pacific States, and I did MacArthur, and I did a peaceful, no Civil War run, and I also was trying to do a Combined Syndicates of America, but the save was broken, and there would be patches, and it would keep happening, and I could never finish a CSA campaign, not counting the Totalist kind. Even though it's one of the most major players in Kaiser Reich. So what I've decided I'm going to do, the goal for this campaign is essentially, we're going to play the CSA. We're going to take the path where there is elections. I mean, plus it's 2024. It's election year in the United States, and and we're going to just try to win World War II. We're gonna. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave myself room for improvisation within the game, depending on how circumstances play out. What is the AI doing? But essentially, the goal will be win the war as the Combined Syndicates of America. Certainly defeat Canada. If Canada gets involved, they will sooner or later, I'm quite sure. We will aid the Third Internationale by joining it and being the good syndicalist soldier, and going the Europe path instead of the Americas path, because I did that in other campaigns. In fact, I almost always go America path. And we're going to make Berlin and a new Germany that is in the Third Internationale. And I think we probably will also, we're going to see what Russia does, but we're going to probably also take on Russia, certainly if it's under like Savinkov or something, and make that a member of us as well. And we'll see what happens with Japan, because Japan can get a little weird how it interacts with everyone. So in short, we're going to play the CSA, and we're going to win World War II, and I'm not going to stop this campaign, and this channel I will not graduate from this channel until I have done that. So if that means, even let's say I totally blow it during World War II, and I can't get a D-Day landing, like France falls, and I can't make D-Day happen, and like we just are in this unattainable position, then guess what? I'm starting over. And we'll do it again, and we'll do it again and again. And if there's a patch update, well, then we start over and we do it again. And it's all going to be in this playlist, which I think I've labeled CHG's graduation campaign start here for people in the future to I hope this is the first one that they watch. So I've talked quite enough. Let's turn off the music and actually get to this. And I'm sure people have 100 questions or things will come up as we play. But I'll I also know I haven't been active, so I'm noticing I've only got double-digit viewers right now. And there's going to probably be some people tomorrow commenting on this video going, "Oh, hey, wow, he's back. I didn't know." So I actually anticipate that the viewership is going to grow over time. Funnily enough, on this one. Uh, so let's just get it booting up. And then once we're at the loading menu, geez, 25 minutes. That's what, so you don't have notes. Okay. Here we go. So timestampers should probably be in here for what's the start of Hearts of Iron for Kaiserreich. So the theme of this campaign, let's talk about the theme. The idea is that I wanted to play and also talk about Hearts of Iron for in the context of of us learning to think of Hearts of Iron 4 in a different way, that being an RPG, a role-playing game. And so the reason for that is I know that there's a lot of people who they watch Hearts of Iron 4, they watch other grand strategy games, and they get really, really intimidated by what they see because there's a lot of moving parts and they don't know what is going on. But I actually am a believer that you can watch games like this even if you yourself don't know how to play them, because I also know that depending on what is the grand strategy game you're playing, you maybe need a PC of a certain level that is, not everybody has that. But what Hearts of Iron 4 is good for, or at least the skeleton of it, because Lord knows I haven't played vanilla in many years, is it's a good vehicle for mods, and there's so many I've played over the years. But whether it's Kaiserreich or, of course, the Equestria at War, or the New Order, or others, is they're interesting role-playing games. Some focus on it more than others. The New Order, of course, is quite famous. The joke being, you don't play the New Order, you read it. But that was kind of what a lot of my channel has always been based on. I lost count over the years of how many times people would tell me, "Yeah, wow, you're the only streamer I've ever seen who actually reads the things that the game pops up with, where it's explaining the world." So from here on, from this moment on, I'm going to be talking as if I am talking to, not to say that you shouldn't ask me questions, but in fact I encourage it, but I'm going to be speaking as if I'm speaking to people who are watching this video in the future, maybe a year from now, a couple years from now, and they don't even know about Hearts of Iron 4, and kind of get them into it, essentially. Because one day there will be Hearts of Iron 5, and frankly I don't think I might make that jump, because there's still so much to be played. Goodness gracious, the New World, or the New Order alone, I haven't even done all of the Comey paths yet. Come on. And that's a whole lot of hours to be done there, so Hearts of Iron 4, gonna be playing it still for a very long time. So let's talk about what this is. And actually, what I'm gonna also do is I see Andrew, you're sad. Blood Rider, you're asking. I'm not gonna be turning the channel into something else. I'll just be retiring it, and I'll probably change the name in some way. Put some brackets, so it'll say like Conquering History Games bracket, retired channel or something. But what I'm going to do to mark the occasion, and to maybe help me I don't know, relax a little, is I'm gonna go do something that we are quite famous for around here and go grab myself a beer. Okay, so we're back and pouring beer. Oh no, I didn't get something to drink it out of. Hold on. Oh jeez, you know what? I could already see it. People will be in the future making fun, saying he's like, "Oh yeah, this is it. I'm done. I'm out of here." And then he streamed for 7 months because he was such a cook. Because he could not because he was bad at the game, but because he was constantly going, "Oh wait, where's my beer?" And stuff like that. And but anyway, here we go. Drinking Old Reliable, the Bigfoot barley wine style ale from Sierra Nevada. Just the best flavor to greatness ratio to price. One of the greatest I've ever seen, anyway. By the way, beer companies, y'all need to start sending me money in the future to talk about your beers specifically. Otherwise, I'm just going to describe, maybe. But big old barley wine. Okay. Cheers, everyone. If you're Vietnamese, yo! My, that is bracing. Okay. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start playing as the United States of America, which is, a country that we're familiar with. Now, the first thing that I should say is that this game we're going to play is a mod called Kaiserreich, which is an alternate history where there is a point of divergence in our 20th century history, which leads to Germany winning World War One. Now, the main turning point, and yes, people can argue about, well, there was this, there was that, but the fundamental turning point, to me anyway, as somebody who makes guides on this thing and has played it for years, is that the United States does not enter into World War One because Kaiser Wilhelm and the German leadership decide not to renew unrestricted submarine warfare in 1917. France eventually is able to be defeated by Germany as a result, and then because Germany can't invade England, but England was not able to is not able to successfully reestablish a hold on the continent. This leads to the peace with honor, as some call it, but certainly, but without doubt, a German victory during World War One, which leads to a lot of wide ramifications. The most immediate being that France becomes the Commune of France and sort of plays the part that Germany typically plays in World War II, like when we're talking about our own history, where they are the defeated power in the global war that turns to a new ideology in the pursuit of revanchism, to fight a revenge war for the sake of avenging that loss. But we're actually not going to look too closely at Europe, but we're instead going to be doing, at least for a while, though of course please I encourage anybody to ask questions in the comments By the way, I encourage people who are watching this. I know it's my last run, but tell people who haven't watched this to check me out. Sorry, I'm fiddling with a thing here. Fiddling with a lighter that doesn't light. I'm just using it as a fidget. So we're going to be playing as the United States, which is still underneath Herbert Hoover, because on the surface, it at first seems that the United States of America has not actually changed that much in this timeline. But as we'll see, there were other things that begin to happen, and just those ripple effects that create an interesting portrayal of 1930s America, which is going to lead to a second American Civil War, where we are going to play as the Combined Syndicates of America, based around the Midwest in Chicago, especially, and we're going to attempt to win the war and go from there. So I'm going to be doing a lot of reading, as we know. Geez, the old heads around here know it's not a CHG episode if he has... or it's not a campaign if he has unpaused in the first hour. And, right now we're only 36 minutes in, and plus, there was an announcement. So who knows how long it'll take before I actually start playing a video game. So let's learn this brief history, and we'll get more into it as we go. The United States of America nearly... let me get one more sip of drink here. Wonderful. The United States of America nearly abandoned isolation to intervene in the European War, but ultimately kept out of the conflict. The result was a Central Powers victory, and the country struggled economically thereafter. Caesar is rubbing on the mic. Sorry about that, my cat. The result was a Central Powers victory, and the country struggled economically thereafter. European trade declined, and the repayment of loans to the Entente was precluded by the German victory. Still internationally regarded as a nobody, the nation now faces mounting internal dissent as Republican Democratic hegemony is challenged by the syndicalists and the America First Party. With a mounting crisis at home and only a modest reputation overseas, things aren't looking good for the United States. So let's get into this. Now, what we're just going to do is I have set up a preset of some rules. As you can see, I'm not like buffing the Internationale or anything. And I'm not going to show what they are, but it's just essentially, it's nothing cheating. I was just making sure that certain nations don't go down certain paths that could start to get a little bit squirrely. But as like I said, as you can see, nothing is here. I'm not like strengthening the Commune of France or the Union of Britain or something, trying to make my allies better. It's just a minutia. In fact, I've already spent too much time talking about it. So, let's jump in, and then there's gonna be a bunch of stuff that's scary for people to watch. But I don't want people to think of like listening to this. I want this final campaign to be something you put on at night to go to sleep, which I know a lot of people do. I hope that I am myself entertaining enough, but in a comfy way that you're able to enjoy yourself, people of the future. Okay. So, here we go. Now, as you can see, we have a lot of alerts, we have a lot of buttons. Oh my gosh, there's a map of the whole world, there's a mini-map, and oh, look at all these names. Do I have to know all these names? Yeah, listen to this while you're playing your own games. It doesn't even have to be Hearts of Iron 4. Or listen to this while you play a console game or something, whatever. I hope that I could just be a comfort and a friend to you. So, people of the future, don't worry about any of this. Don't worry about what do all these buttons do, what's happening. I'm going to guide you through stuff as we go. And of course, hopefully people in the chat, if they want to know about something, they'll ask and can help people of the future understand things. Because I really feel like, I feel even developers don't know all the secrets of games like this. They're so big, they're so expansive, and whatnot. But, Blood Rider, you're cycling. You see, now I'm picturing a Dothraki horde, but they're on bicycles instead of horses. Yeah. Not even Harley, not even on motorcycles. It's not like the Who with that, the that everyone knows the Who. But it's not like that video where they're Mongolians, but they're on motorbikes. They're just on like street bikes. Little horn. Anyway. Let's read the lore of what's going on here. We're going to really be playing this as a role-playing game. Hi, Sopwith Campbell. Yes, there will one day be another future channel. I'll say right now, though, I'm not going to point to that future channel. And this is the internet. People will find me, I'm sure, people who used to be here. So I'm not saying it's going to even show up right away when I'm done. In fact, it probably would take months because there's preparations. I've done many preparations, but there's some things I just can't really do until I'm finished with this. I need to get this in my rearview mirror. But okay, so what's the world that we're jumping into here? So like, let's look at this. Let's look at this as we've suddenly woken up in this alternate universe. What's going on? I don't know where I am. Who am I? Maybe I'm not even an American usually, and I'm here in America. It's like, what's the situation? And so now you're getting briefed. Yeah, one last ride. There we go. This is what I'm liking to hear. This is the one last ride, guys. It's like Aqua. Aqua is graduating out in Hall Alive. I hope I'm not how you found out. And we just need to appreciate that we have this time with her. And I'm not even big on Aqua. I know her work with Start In, but within Start In, I'm a Suisei guy. I just anyway. So the United States in 1936. In 1936, this is our world. The United States of America are gripped by unrelenting crises. Stop. Pause. The difference between the United States are and the United States is, many people say that is the difference between America during its first Civil War. So I do want, like, before people would say, before the Civil War, which many people say united the country, even in a harsh way, they would say the United States are. And then post-war, the 50 states, they're united for good or ill in a new way. And then it becomes the United States is. By the way, I'm going to go out on a branch here and say, yes, the right side did win the Civil War, at least on the battlefield. So let's get on to the second sentence. You see, guys, like this one last ride, it is the year 2027. CHG has reached 1938. Because he keeps stopping after every sentence to talk about something. All right, second sentence. Although able to avoid the horrors of the Weltkrieg, which is what they refer to World War I as in this world, which allowed its prosperity to continue well into the 1920s, German victory in the Weltkrieg, followed by the French and British revolutions, led to the Wall Street crash of 1925. So that, I believe the reason why it's 1925 specifically, because there's so much lore. Like, I've been playing this for years and for so long and reading the reports and all that, and even I'm not always 100% sure on stuff, but I believe it's in the 1925 that there's the miners' strike in what the future Union of Britain that's going to trigger that, and then that creates the disaster in America. So this sent the United States spiraling into the Great Depression and allowed the Berlin stock market to take its place at the forefront of the world economy. The election of Herbert Hoover in 1928, while initially promising, failed entirely to reverse the decline of the American economy, and by 1936 the country had spent over a decade in the midst of the worst financial crisis it had ever seen. So the in real life Great Depression, depending on who you ask, lasted like 10 to 12 years, and there was like recruitment in the middle of it. So somebody's asking, how did Hoover get reelected mid-depression? Yeah, that's the first question, because it's like Hoover gets the boot very, very quick. But in our timeline, as soon as he's able to. But here it's different. And so they explain that here. Hoover's contentious reelection, or wait, no, worst financial crisis I'd ever seen. This fueled the rise of radical parties in America, from the far left Socialist Party of America to the far right America First Party. Hoover's contentious, so Hoover's who we're playing as here at the beginning. Hoover's contentious reelection by means of the House of Representatives in 1932 and the ongoing Great Depression means that these problems are unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. Many throughout the country fear the upheaval that would result should one of the extreme parties come to power or should the Depression continue unabated. So, for those of you who do not know American constitutional rules, that could mean that you're not American. It could mean you are. That essentially, in a contested election where there are not enough electoral college votes to determine who is supposed to be the president, it then reverts to the House of Representatives to determine who is supposed to be the president of that. So the most famous case of this would be the Andrew Jackson versus John Quincy Adams, and there was others in there, when they were running for office. I believe it was 1828. 1828 is the one specifically I'm checking. You know what? Let me actually check that. 1828 election. I want to be sure I'm getting this right. No, this was the redo. I'm thinking of the previous one. So I'm thinking of the 1824 election, where basically the big ones were John Quincy Adams, the improver, son of John Adams, the second president. You had Andrew Jackson, aka American Lion, William H. Crawford, and Henry Clay, which, like, young Henry Clay too, but Henry Clay, definitely one of the most interesting American politicians who never actually became president. Also, here's a more modern connection to Henry Clay. Henry Clay had slaves, including a certain Cassius Clay, eventually, named after the abolitionists, and the descendants of of those slaves. Eventually, there is a Cassius Clay who becomes a boxer and eventually the world heavyweight champion, after which he changes his name, because now that he's the champ, nobody can tell him what to do, nobody can keep the belt from him, and they got to take it from him by force if they want it. He decides to rename himself and come out publicly as a member of the Nation of Islam with the name Muhammad Ali. So there you go, the greatest. So that was a contested election, and it went to the House of Representatives, and essentially Henry Clay had thrown his support behind John Quincy Adams, and then John Quincy Adams named him the Secretary of State. So this is famously called the corrupt bargain, because the Secretary of State was kind of what was seen as the road to the White House, especially back then. Kind of more recently, that's what a lot of people felt when, I'm going to always be careful about talking about modern American politics. But, when President Obama was elected in 2008, he made Hillary Clinton his Secretary of State, and everybody was going, well, they're putting her on ice until, she's going to be able to run, and then that led to 2016, and then we don't need to go from there. But, So that's what happens here. Same situation, that Hoover does not have an electoral college majority because, wait, there's path guides now trying to put me out of a job. Reveal spoilers. Oh my gosh, there are. Well, I'm not going to look at these, but I'm glad these are here in theory. What else is here? Oh, they got how to play. That's nice. Of course, credits to everyone who's worked so hard. You're all great. And thank you to everybody who's ever worked with me, any of these mod teams who ever worked with me on doing stuff, getting early access to new releases and patches and stuff. Wouldn't have been able to channel I was without you. So there, we've gotten through 2 paragraphs. So okay, what does all that mean? Well, what it means is we are Herbert Hoover, the man at the crossroads. Now, again, I'm kind of trying to explain this for people who are not Hearts of Iron 4 players, typically. But what you can see here is that... Wait, hold on. little issue in the other monitor. Give me a second here. Okay, let's get the OBS going. There we go. So whenever you are playing as a leader or the legislature of a country, but for simplicity's sake, we're playing as Herbert Hoover right now. So we're at the man at the crossroads. We're losing political power, which is that thing you need everything for. So people don't really like us, so we have a neg on that. That's why it's the red letters. But our production efficiency growth is going up. I am reading chat protestifications. Okay. Just let's cool off a little bit, protestifications, all right? You're using some certain type of language in the chat. Let's be careful. I'm especially going to be reading chat, because, I mean, this is the last ride. Let's conversate. So whenever you look at these leader descriptions, you know, it'll give you a little heads up on who they are. Now, I'm not sure I've actually said this before, so I guess I'm making this for the people of the future. I did study history. I continue to study history. You know, I've done it at the collegiate and post levels. So I like to think I kind of have a head on what's up and how to think. But this last campaign, it's the CHG podcast practically, that happens to involve playing Kaiserreich. It's kind of like Crony, excuse me, in Whole Live, where whenever she's playing the Power Washer game, do you think people watch Crony play Power Washer to see the cool ways that she power washes and cleans? No, they do it to hear her, you know, whatever out-of-pocket degenerate stuff she's going to say today. So we're playing as Herbert Hoover, and I'm actually going to, for the most part, let these tooltips do the talking. I mean, people work hard on them. I might occasionally pop in some of my own knowledge. Yeah, we're playing as the Spirit of the Nation, Kipsu, yeah. So who is this? So we were born in Iowa on August 10th. Whoa, actually, didn't that just pass? Today's the 12th, right? An effective organizer of multiple relief efforts for war-torn Europe during the Weltkrieg and largely unaffiliated with the Democratic and Republican establishments. Many had very high hopes for Herbert Hoover when he formally declared himself a Republican shortly after the start of the Great Depression in 1925. Hoover ran on a fairly optimistic platform of increasing public infrastructure projects and attempting to unify the country under a moderate government. He and Charles Curtis, who you should find my video on Charles Curtis, I talk about him being Native American, and then I end it with a Star Wars meme. That's just what this channel is. Easily won the 1928 election, but soon found his platform stalled by the realities of the increasingly polarized American electorate. As the Great Depression and the finger-pointing only grew worse, Hoover narrowly won the 1932 elections after the election went to the House to decide. You're watching Fauna Yap. Man, Fauna's so great. She's an inspiration. She really is. I wish I could be half as good at yapping and exuding comfortable sex appeal. So, anyway, throughout his tenure, Hoover has worked to stabilize the situation the best he could. In the political realm, he has wrangled with congressional Democrats on legislation to solve the Great Depression to middling success. The worsening situation has pushed to look to other less savory measures as well. There's probably a typo. He's probably supposed to say he in there. While preparing... I'm having trouble reading the font. Hold on. The worsening situation has pushed him to look to other less savory measures as well. So that was a typo. He has discreetly asked military planners to continually revise War Plan White to prepare contingencies for severe domestic turmoil, and elevated the stature of one General Douglas MacArthur, a rising star among certain nervous establishment circles. As a restless 1936 dawns, all eyes are on the White House to see what happens next, while a few see his position as that of just another lame duck. Hoover knows the decisions he makes in his final year may well alter the course of the nation. Over sleepless nights and countless phone calls, Hoover's actions or lack thereof will decide America's fate and that of his legacy. So Kipsu, yeah, in short, and you know, chat, feel free to keep other, catch other people up as they come in, both today and in future streams. But in short, I just want to start a new YouTube channel life somewhere else, and I just want to wrap this one up before I go. So you'll probably hear my voice again, hopefully. You're gonna hear my voice when I'm getting my freaking Presidential Medal of Freedom. So what we're gonna do is we have to pick a national focus, which is of course a key part of playing Hearts of Iron 4. We don't have very many options available to us at the time, so what we're just gonna do is we're just gonna go to the War Department, play expansion. So this is the role play, right? What does it say in the Hoover thing? He's working on building up this thing called War Plan White. So the War Department has to be expanded, which is going to help us get some more Army experience gain. Of course, there's no... your headphones died as you started talking. Well, Kipsu, again, just to... Gosh, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot in this last streams, but in short, I want to go make... Let's see if I can get to 25,000 again on a different channel under a different name, starting from the beginning, and then go beyond. Because in short, I want to make a channel. I want to make a channel that like, I don't want to get into too many details at the moment, but reach it. Give me. It's gonna be history. It'll still be history, is what I'm saying. Is you'll be able to tune into CHD in the future and hear him talk about history, do history things, and the VTuber arc. Aren't I in the VTuber arc now? I have my logo's here in the corner, right? I just don't. I'm a very unusual VTuber. I don't have an eyes or mouth. I also don't move. You gotta do a face reveal of the Spawn song. No, I'm gonna keep it to myself. I want to stay anonymous, and too many of my IRL friends know who I am already, if you ask me. Yeah. So I won't say what the channel is, but people will find me. Oh my gosh, joining V Shoujo. Jeez. I'm gonna get an email from like who are, let me think of a few VTuber agencies. There's like Whole Life, V Shoujo. There's the one that starts with an N that we don't talk about their English side anymore. Who else is out there? There's like Idle Park. There's a million. They're always coming and going. But like, I'm just imagining, like, they're all getting me emails. Hey, what did those? They just all start emailing me. Like, hey, what did they offer you? Because we'll double it. It's like nobody offered me anything. 3 VTuber debut jokes and 4 comments. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, like this, it actually completely changes my plans. It starts a bidding war. Yago's knocking on my door. It's like, we'd like for you to join the Whole Live initiative. Oh my gosh. Lips to God's ears. But anyway. Anyway. Give me descriptors so I can feed it to an AI. 10 fingers on each hand. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the last stream. It's like, well, guys, time for my AI face reveal. I look like a monster! Anyway. Yes, the Puerto Rico garrison. It'll be a shame to leave them behind. Speaking of Puerto Rico, people have been watching the Olympics, huh? I've been really enjoying track and field. It's over now. But, you know, I had to watch one of my favorite track stars, Jasmine Camacho Quinn. CHG face reveal brought to you by ChatGPT. Yeah, I just tell ChatGPT, what do I look like? I just ask it. Don't give any description. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, what can you say? All right. I probably should be focusing on the game. Yeah, purple hands. Yeah, that's right. I did once show my hands, but I had purple rubber gloves on. Okay, supposed to be playing the game, aren't we? So let's start just kind of bit by bit going through all of these alerts. So we have some research slots available. We need to determine what it is that our people are, scientifically going to be working on. So, dang it, I just found out some information. By the way, I should say right now, this stream, I'm going to be ending it in 2 hours at most. But it might be less, honestly. But I'm going to be here. I'm going to try to be here every day. I'm not going to promise I'm going to be here every day. You know, I got to go out of town for something. You know, I got to go out of town. But you know, I'll be back as soon as I can. So anyway, let's see what we're working on here. So in terms of production, 2 hours from now, at most. So what I want to focus on here, in terms of my scientific research, is I already know that I'm going to be becoming the Combined Syndicates of America. So I'm wanting to base stuff around Chicago. So what the only thing I'm really going to be doing for this early part here is I'm just going to come over here under construction and build infrastructure. Now, infrastructure, of course, is always the first thing that you want to build, or at least I like to build. I shouldn't say there's people who min-max Hearts of Iron 4. They've worked on speed running, which, like, how do you speed run if people have different systems? But that, like, how's the soonest you can win World War II and stuff like that. I'm not gonna. Basically, I'm going to play the game the way that I play it, the way I've learned to play it, in a role-playing way. Hey, Epic Zombie Doctor, good to see you. That new profile picture? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some infrastructure, because infrastructure, whenever you're going to build up in an area, is really, really good. Now, right now, we've got 3 out of 5 slots here in Chicago. Like, let's check out Illinois, right? This is where Chicago, this is our future capital. So if we look, this is, of course, owned by the United States. It's got 12 unlocked slots. And we have a few civilian factories here. There's an air base. We've got some railways. And this is an area that has medium control by the Socialist Party of America. So this state harbors support for the Socialist Party of America. Its allegiance in case of a civil conflict breaks out is not certain. I suppose if we looked at, like, South Dakota, there's nothing there. If we went to Arkansas, we could see America First is there. California, no one's there. Stuff like that. So these things are going to modify with time. Are the syndicates my favorite faction? Oh, I've said so many times. I don't have, like, there's so many paths and so many mods. There's definitely countries that I play more than others, but it's because they have more paths. So of course the United States has, so you can go Pacific states, CSA, American Union State, New England. You could do the Southern Black Uprising, which I've done in Kaiser Redu. You can go Federalists, you can go Quentin, and there's no war, and so many others. So, and it's just like that with, like, I love Comey in the New Order, because there's like 9 different paths ranging from the we must kill the hereditary reactionaries and stuff like that. But you could go from that to it's like kind of middle of the road democracy. You could have of course crazy Taboritsky can rise. And we're all gonna just, become obsessed with clocks. Nice clock, bro. Equestria, an Equestrian War has so many paths, and yeah, it just goes on and on and on. So much to be done. Which is why when Hearts of Iron 5 comes out one day, go on without me. I'm still playing back here. It's like when Crusader Kings 3 came out. I was definitely one of those people who it's like, hundreds of hours in the game, and it's just like, no, you can't release a sequel. I'm not finished yet. All right. So in terms of research, which, boy, timestampers in the future are going to go, people are going to be timestamping. This is the timestamp for when he said he was going to start doing this. This is the timestamp for when he actually started doing it. So, yeah, we'll get back to infrastructure because that's the next thing. But I was just bringing it up because I'm going to focus on the industry of these areas and just industry in general. I, of course, want to go to the industry tab. So we're going to be setting up the basic machine tools, which is going to help our production efficiency cap. It basically means that when we're doing our best with industry, we can get more stuff cranked out. And so in a similar vein, we're also going to increase our construction speeds. And remember, this is all stuff that's going to carry over to when we become the CSA. It's my understanding, admittedly, I haven't really played Hearts of Iron 4 in like a year, not counting, I did some practice running just to make sure that stuff was working, make sure that the OBS was working, even though we had that audio issue earlier. But just things like that getting done. So we should get all of our research changing over. And also, like, if there's some maybe there's been some patches, some things I'm not aware of, they're going to happen. We'll roll with the punches as they come. But construction 1, this will carry over really good. Construction speed's good. The factory repair speed, so important, because we're going to be fighting a civil war. And then even if the civil war is fast, which incidentally, if it's fast, I think it's really hard for the CSA to win the civil war quickly, especially because as the years have gone by, they continue to just nerf it because people complain about it. I think a lot of that comes from the English-speaking community in particular. But like, there's always been this. People get really into their in real life political feelings when playing these video games, which is something I always detach myself from. Like, one of the earliest campaigns I ever did on this channel, it should be on this channel, in fact it was on the original channel that was this channel, is I did an Adolf Hitler world conquest so I can get that achievement in vanilla Hearts of Iron 4. Does that mean I'm a member of Big H's party? Of course not. But you better believe if the years have gone by, I've been accused of all sorts of things. Heck, we got a mod in the chat right now talking about me being a syndicalist, So I think it's really hard, if not impossible, to win quickly as the CSA. The CSA has the advantage of where it's kind of like, basically, as a general rule, let's pretend that a lot of it depends on the Pacific states. It depends on Canada and things like that. But essentially, I feel that the American Union state usually has the best chance of winning quickly if they could do a quick run up the East Coast, knock out, grab Washington, Baltimore, New York, all those big cities, and knock out the Federalists, or at least drive them over to Denver. You get all that, and then you squeeze the CSA between yourself and the Federalists. Like, you just kind of hold the line in Texas. And then you can, like here, I probably should be showing the map for what I'm saying. And then, then you get the CSA quickly, and now you've got everything east of the Mississippi plus Texas, and that's game. That's game right there, because like most of, this is geography for people who don't know America. Like 80% of Americans live east of this parallel line that's a little bit west of Dallas, because it's where all the water systems are and stuff like that. So like most of the western United States is empty, especially once you're outside of California, because I know California's got a lot of population, but like this whole section of the United States, emptiness. So yeah, you just grab all of that industry quickly as the American Union state, and that's going to be game. But I feel that the longer a campaign that the Civil War goes, like once you get into like 1938, early 1939, the CSA is going to be in a better position because they have the industrial heartland, and they're also getting help from countries that are at peace. So like the Commune of France is typically not going to be at war. The Union of Britain, typically not going to be at war. So you have these nations that are going to be your future allies in the Third International who are able to provide you with resources. And so that's going to help. I'm talking about, this is all AI considered, right? Obviously, when a player is playing a country, they can switch it. But it helps with that long-term fight. Yeah, exactly, Prometheus. You're picking it up about the aridness. Yeah, Dylan98, Yaki and Rockwell. Yeah. Freaking Ordo socialism in America. So Incidentally, that's why if you've ever heard of the Cannonball Run car race, it's a car race where you see how fast or it's a one-person car race, like you're just doing it for speed, but it's how fast can you drive from New York City to Los Angeles. What I always hear is the key is you want to be going through the Great Plains states here during the night, because then there's just nobody on the road. And so you could just gun it 100 miles an hour nonstop the whole way, pretty much. Of course, you're in the middle of the night and you probably have some extra gas in your tank and you're just going to fuck shit up. Oh, excuse me, cursing. People of the future, I cuss. I try not to, but, you know, we all fall short of the grace of God. Okay, let's now pick our second research. By the way, we've got great research speed here at the beginning because we're on free trade, which I honestly might keep us on for the whole game, just because there's other things I want to spend political power on, and I've got so many resources once I unite the country and I core everything that I don't really feel I have to keep resources at home to survive. Like I'm gonna have to trade a little bit in the early game, but not often. Very rare. Okay, so yeah, because of all those reasons, we're gonna do construction 1 because it is gonna have to be a grind. As I was saying, we're gonna have to grind our way to Washington. I hope that I can grab Washington early, and then we'll push south. And that, you know, getting through the Appalachians. My God, when we have to start going through the Rockies, all sorts of stuff. The country is gonna not be doing good. You know, it's the Second American Civil War. Tens of thousands are gonna die, possibly hundreds of thousands. We'll see. And the infrastructural damage is gonna be huge. So the sooner we can get that construction up, which is gonna get the repair speed, we need to hit that point where we're repairing civilian factories that can make better infrastructure, so we can make more civilian factories, so we can fix the repairs, and we're gonna be snowballing. And snowball, I think, is going to be the key. Because remember, in the real world, the United States doesn't enter World War II until December 1941. Things had already been going on for a couple of years. So what's gonna happen is I want to finish the Civil War as quickly as possible. But then if the Second World War breaks out and we're still repairing, well, then we're gonna maybe not join right away because we got to get ready, just like the regular United States had to get ready. And the key is ultimate victory. Again, to reiterate our goals, this campaign is going to go until Germany has been defeated, and probably also Moscow. Right now they're under Zvinkov, but I think it always starts with Zvinkov. So we'll see what happens. I need to... Okay, so construction. So we're 2 in! Yeah, and there's also the big debuffs after the Second American Civil War. Like, we need to fix ourselves. Like, one of the things that is regrettable, but I mean, that's just the way it is we're probably not going to get involved with the war in Spain. Because we're going to be too busy with our own stuff. And so, I think right now we have to accept that Spain, we're going to probably not get a leftist government winning there. It's going to probably be the Kingdom or the Carlists. Because if we're not there to help them, that's just how it goes. And that'll be a problem because that's a huge second front against the Commune of France. So, man, when this war, Commune of France, good luck to them. They're going to be going through it later. All right, let's now get to our third research. Let's see if we can try to get through all these alerts before I finish streaming today and unpause. Is it possible? We shall see. Okay, so another thing I want to do is, this is terrific. We start with electric, mechanical engineering already researched, so we can go immediately into mechanical computing. Now, as a general rule, I do not like to take focuses. They're going to take more than 200 days to do. And we also have to be careful because after the election, at some point in 1937, we're going to not be in control of the United States anymore. And so whatever we're in the middle of researching, we're going to lose it. So, but we're gonna be able to finish mechanical computing this year, so that's another plus 4% to research speed. That's really great. And you know, research speed, it compounds, and I think that's gonna be a key part of our eventual victory is being able to have good technology, good industry, And so that it's like when all else things being equal, when it gets to the grinded out time against Germany, when we're just like marching through hell trying to get into the heartland, what's going to be key is having rifles, having air superiority, stuff, a lot of stuff like that. That if we have 10,000 men and the Germans have 10,000 men, our guys are going to win. All other, like, regardless of if there's pincer attacks going on or something, but if it's just a grind against each other, we're going to be better equipped, we're going to have better logistics, and we're just going to be killing more of them than they're killing of us, and so we'll eventually win out. Of course, there's going to be strategies, there's going to be more to it than that, but it's essentially because I don't like to micromanage, especially once we get into the late game. I do not like to micromanage the whole front line. Anybody who's seen me over the years, you guys know I like to just set up a good defensive line, something that's not actively like disintegrating, and then I'll just focus on a few divisions, and we'll go from there. Just make those advances bit by bit, trying to find that key breakthrough point that wins us the war. But then I could also know the ones who I'm not micromanaging are taking care of themselves. Outramir, I'm sorry, Kipsu, no. I think I don't even have that patch of Crusader Kings anymore. Sorry. Yeah, getting across the Rhine when there's 6 divisions on a tile. Yeah, you're trying to get over a river and into a mountain or something. You're just very bad. Yeah, Outramir has fallen. I'm sorry. I'm not happy about it either. So, oh gosh, what time is it? 5:17. Okay. So, what we're also gonna do next is I don't think we're gonna get radio, because radio is actually really good. But it is tricky because I don't like taking the time to research it, but I know that it's important, and timing is a key thing. So I think radio is going to be something we'll research after we make the switch, because it's essentially if I research it now, that means the computer is going to have it too right away. I'm starting to see more people coming in terms of concurrent viewers. Be sure to tell people in the Discord deviants hang out in. Let people know. Let people know that I'm back. So, I think another thing I want... I'm gonna research the anti-air gun now, because anti-air is super important for the piercing, for the... Gosh, how long has it been since I actually dedicated time to anti-tank? But we're gonna do this because I at least want to get some basic factories going. I'm going to, I'm not going to use anti-air in the war. We're not going to have the industry for that. It's not going to be a priority. I'm sorry, Kipsu. I'd like to do Outramir in another life. In another life, Kipsu. We shall see Outramir again. We shall scream Deus Vult in the chat again. But yeah, tanks and anti-air guns are gonna be really important, I think, for later. And actually, in fact, I think we're gonna go heavy tanks. I've always had such a weakness for heavy tanks, and people love to talk the trash about it, but I love me the heavy tanks. They're very fun. T-minus 10 months of map painter VTuber. Man, FanDuel's just taking bets on anything, huh? I wouldn't want to charge down a Beaufort. Yeah. Wouldn't want to charge down both of these. Anyway, so let's now look at the other event here. Okay, so we have here some free civilian factories. So, we're not at war. So these factories don't need to be, we got these civilian factories that aren't making guns and stuff like that. So we want them to work on other stuff. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building an infrastructure because we're going to be using this in a role-playing way to simulate how the future CSA states are like doing that. They're industrial minded and focused, and that is reflecting in the states, at the state level, what's going on. So there are certain states that are going to be key in the future, Illinois, of course, but we're going to go like Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those are all going to be a lot big industry states. I don't know. What should we do with Ohio? I know Ohio's the current meme, which is interesting because Indiana used to be the meme. Now Ohio's the meme state. Like, oh my gosh, being in Ohio. And it's just, Mr. Incredible, Uncanny pictures, stuff like that. But that's how people used to talk about Indiana. So it's like, you'd have a map of the U.S. that said, this is Indiana. These are the states that border Indiana. These are the states that border the states that border Indiana. And then these are the states where there is an illusion of safety from Indiana. Yeah. Oh. But anyway, we will build in Ohio some infrastructure. So as you can see, the yellow tooltips will say, we're going to get more oil out of this. We're going to get more steel. We're going to get more aluminum, a lot of good stuff. But this is all going to be good for when we are post-war and having to repair stuff, and then we're trying to build more things, more factories. This initial investment of infrastructure is going to be huge. So that's why I'm wanting to do this now. I think that'll be it. Yeah, it'll alert me if they're done building stuff and I need to reassign them. Okay, so we have some free military factories. I'm just gonna build guns. Not really much to that. I mean, we're not like, wow, 15 guns a day, incredible. So we're done with that. We have some missing equipment production. It's saying that we're not building carrier fighters, carrier close air support, carrier vessel, naval bombers and stuff. I don't actually care about any of that. So we're just gonna drop that. Yeah, probably not really yet. You guys know me. I'm not a Navy guy. I've done the Navy thing, but I don't. This is more important stuff. We'll be fine. Well, I'll just build like some, I'm just going to spam out some small ships, and if I need to build bigger ships, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I trust we'll be able to hold on to the Atlantic. Yeah, who is a Navy guy? There's people who are Navy guys. Like, I've definitely seen guides online where people will show, oh, this is how you can build a great Navy as Germany, but still be good enough to drop France and Belgium super quick, like vanilla. There's people, like, also the thing was, you guys got to remember, I wasn't in the Navy, I was in the Army. Navy are not my guys. Excuse me. I'm not built like that. I wasn't built to go down in a ship with 99 other guys and come back up with 50 couples. Save that for the submarine folk. Thank you for your service, but I was land, artillery, explosions, simple. Okay. So yeah, Coast Guard guys. Yeah, the Coast Guard guys need to be there for, somebody's got to find the smuggled cocaine to feed the CIA. So. Next up, it says we don't have any divisions in basic training. Once again, not really going to be building anything because I don't think Hoover... Remember, we're role-playing. There's like... Why would Hoover be building up the army right now? Although, yeah, we are doing War Department expansion. So actually, in the name of that, I think what he maybe would be doing is... Actually, don't want to screw with the military. Yeah, you don't want to get people too scared about war games happening outside of Nashville, right? So we're just gonna leave everybody where they're at the moment. The National Guards are here. There's the Illinois National Guard, the Texas National Guard. That actually probably should be the 36th ID. I'm just saying, but you have these National Guard divisions for those who are not American. The National Guard is actually older than the United States of America. and it is essentially a branch of the military that is more, as the name implies, more specifically meant to be for the defense of the country. Of course, they do still go that, you know, but what the National Guard ends up being when we're talking about the history of the United States is that they are often the ones who, when a war breaks out, okay, well, these people are already trained, so they got a heads up on all these draftees coming in. So, for example, one of the most famous National Guard moments, which would not have happened in this timeline, actually, now that I say it, yeah, the armies technically belong to the states. So, like, governors are the ones who have authority over National Guards. So, for example, let's please not get crazy in the chat, but for those of you who are Americans, right now, the governor of Minneapolis has been chosen to be the vice presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. And one of the things that they're talking about him was how appropriate or inappropriate was his use of the National Guard in 2020. Yeah, there are gendarmes. Yeah. And so anyway, that's what the National Guard is. So kind of an example of the National Guard historically going overseas was actually during World War I in our universe, not the Kaiserreich one, where during the Second Battle of the Marne, where the Germans were attempting to, they were doing that last big offensive under Ludendorff, General Ludendorff, to take Paris, there was the 3rd Infantry Division of the United States, which has earned that nickname, the Rock of the Marne. But there were also, I think they were 4 Pennsylvanian National Guard divisions who were there. So you had 4 National Guard divisions and one that was like a relative. I mean, there's regular Army divisions, but what I'm saying is that there was like a greater proportion of National Guardsmen over there. So anyway. So that's what the National Guard is. And yeah, I guess they wouldn't really be doing anything right here. So we're just going to kind of leave everybody by. We're not even going to assign a general. Like, this doesn't matter. Although, let's take a boy. Look at the murderers row, though. Like the freaking 27 Yankees of soldiers here. I mean, these are names even internationally people know now. You got General Marshall, General Patton is here, General Bradley, super underrated. Smedley Butler, the BME. We'll be talking quite a bit about him later. There's Eisenhower, McNair, Lee, Mosley, not to be confused with the other Mosley. Dang, I didn't mean to be clicking them. Stillwell, Friedenhall. Dang it. I don't mean to keep playing it. And there's MacArthur, big old Douglas MacArthur. But for right now, I don't know. Let's just grab Marshall or something. Okay. So next up, so we have no divisions in basic training. We're also going to dismiss that alert because I don't think it matters. It says that we have some outdated equipment in production. So it's one of these ships, but as you can see, there's a queue up of how many ships are being built, and like this cruiser's not going to be finished till October 25th. That's St. Crispin's Day, 1938. The Civil War is going to start beforehand, so this is never going to finish. So we're just, again, not really worrying about this. So we're going to dismiss that alert. And then finally, we have insufficient resources. We do not have rubber. That is the one thing the United States lacks. As you can see, we have plenty of other stuff. Well, we don't really have chromium. And, we're going to need chromium, actually. Yeah. No getting into real politics unless we're just joshing. And we don't need to get into modern politics. We have all of human history to draw from. It's like tens of thousands of years of human civilization. And y'all want to talk about the last 2 months. Come on. There's so much more meme material out there. So, yeah, we're just going to trade with the Dutch East Indies. So, I think now that we are coming up on the hour, 25 minutes into the stream mark, we can unpause. So let me grab my beer, and once more, cheers, everybody, and then we will unpause. I guess I should clink something. Cheers. Or, wait, what's the German? Oh, gosh, I should know this. Skål! The world began in 2020, didn't you know? Boy, people sure act like it sometimes. All right. So, and now, not only are we going to unpause, we're going to 5 speed. And we just got to let time go by. Okay. Stuff has already begun. The CHG parlay. So, the Legation Council, this is like a mini game, basically. Some stuff going on in China. We got some political power. That's nice. Don't worry about it. So, Kerensky just got killed out here in Russia. Just because it starts with Savinkov does not mean that he does not still die. In every age, in every place, Kerensky still gets got. As does everybody. You know, it's like the House of the Dragon, which I'm not watching anymore, by the way. Gosh, we have to catch up so much, too. I barely streamed in the last year. But it's like when people say, whoa, spoilers, you said somebody's going to die. It's like, well, they're all going to die. It takes place 200 years before the first movie, our first show. Yeah. So, yeah, Savinkov killed somebody, don't worry about it. Look at this, we can't even fill a full corps. Can't get a proper full army. Yeah. Hold on, I need to blow my... What's going? Let me... Hold on, my OBS is... my OBS is being a little weird. Weird. Can I say that word anymore, or is it just politicized now? I hate when common usage words become political memes. My gosh. Somebody once told me years ago, this was like 2015, I think. I was at a get-together, just a nice little party, and I was talking, party disbanded, people were going home. I'm talking to the host, and he pulls me aside at one point over this conversation that was being had, and he tells me, he explains to me that milk is code word for white supremacy. So what the hell are you talking about? He goes, yeah, white supremacists like milk because it's white, and biologically some non-white groups digest milk as well, like they have a higher propensity for lactose intolerance or some shit. I don't know. But I says, yeah, so milk is a code word for white supremacy. And I was like, that is the dumbest shit. I almost went to the grocery store and bought some milk right there. Yeah, MILK, man, I love Koseki. We were about to use your N-word pass on that. Yeah, on that? It's just... Hold on, let me mute so I can blow my nose. Yeah. Yeah, man, I love Koseki. Man, I love Kyla. I do love Kyla. Oh, gosh, I have been drinking. Wait, did I unmute? Oh, shit. Part of me was like, did I just say that? Well, I'm muted. No, I'm not. Oh, boy. Good start to the graduation campaign. Okay, yeah, so let's keep on pausing, keep moving along. I'm only going to really focus on stuff that's directly important. Oh! What? Savinkov got assassinated. Ooh, so we're not getting full-blown revanchism Russia. Okay. Kyla. Power vacuums opened up. Nat Pop government, pioneered by Savinkov, has collapsed. There's a new chairman. So they are now socially liberal. Interesting. Democratic Russia. We do not see that often. January 20th. That's an interesting day for it to happen, too, because that's Inauguration Day in the United States of America is January 20th. I mean, your average American probably couldn't tell you. Especially... because, their January memory is used up on the 1st and liberal 9/11 known as January 6th. Okay, So we've got the Totalist Charter here. Let's talk about the Totalists, because this is, I want to talk about the Totalists because this is what we are expressly not going to do. So the Totalist Charter by this says that Mussolini, Valois, Herzog, and other interested parties arrived in Birmingham today to discuss their common ground. It has been agreed that Marxism, I think that's supposed to say maximalism, Sorelianism, and national syndicalism all share basic principles of the state's primacy in the social struggle, the role of national identity within the state, and the importance of a strong central authority to preserve and build socialism. The Charter also claims the socialist state is the final stage of human development and that democracy is not necessary to achieve socialism. These statements have drawn great criticism from other socialist factions who gave them the name totalism as a play on totalitarian socialism, which has been eagerly accepted by Mosley. Oh God, Mosley. Oh God, Mosley. Oh. Oh. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I just had to look at that bitch ass and think about him and say his name, so it... Oh, man. Woo! Let's get some of that back in. Okay. Mosley, who added it to the manifesto's name, attributing it to their total commitment to socialism. The people must reject this madness. So totalist is very much what we are not doing. And if in fact there was a major part of the Third International, so for example, if the Union of Britain or the Commune of France go totalist, that's gonna get interesting because like I feel with the path we're going, that is not gonna work. So we might, if we get totalist Union of Britain, we're gonna have to invade them or something. So anyway, let's that's what we're not going to do. We're going to still do elections, and I want to do the elections because we're also going to get some interesting people along the way that I could talk about. Yeah, very long running the Mosley joke. Geez, the Mosley joke's got to go back at least 6 years or something. Okay. So I wanted to draw attention to this issue that's going on here. We have a timer right now on our political actions for dealing with the Great Depression. The Great Depression has left the United States reeling, and President Hoover's government has been struggling to deal with the fallout. The last hope is to pass a bill that will finally get some relief in the hands of those who need it, if Congress can work quickly enough. One of the so essentially, I need to fix some of these Great Depression issues, and if I do not in the next 278 days, we're going to lose 20% stability, and stability is, in my opinion, the most important thing that you need to get up in a Hearts of Iron 4 game because so many things are connected to it. And then America First Party and the Socialist Party are going to greatly gain political power. Now, we're, of course, going to be doing a CSA campaign, so the Great Depression is not going to get fixed, but I'm kind of also like, again, it's role play. It's like, well, what happens if he can't figure this out? It's 1936. He came into office in January of 1933. What's going on? You ain't done anything. And so it's like, come on, let's go. And nothing's happening. Excuse me. Actually, I'm going to try to finish this beer right now. Okay. Here's to the graduation campaign, everybody. Kampai! What a wonderful beer. Again, it's Bigfoot Barley Wine Style Ale. I'll read the label on this one, actually, because I'm drinking the 2024 edition. I always get several every year because I like to age them. But this one says, Extreme in the 80s and a force of flavor today, Bigfoot is a timeless beast of a beer, forever tracked for its enormous malt body and sheer hop intensity. Drink it fresh or celery cheers. Expedition to unleash a world of new flavors over time. Gotta say the hops are a little light this year. Really light, I think, actually. It's kind of a little over malted, but you know, let it age. Let's see what happens. I'm sorry, I gotta blow my nose again. He's ready. Oh, shit, I'm not muted. Okay, I'm back. Let's keep moving. Edward VIII has been crowned the King of Britain. So, as a reminder, so the Dominion of Canada is going to be really, really important in this playthrough. As it always especially is whenever you're playing the Combined Syndicates of America, because, to make a long story short, the Dominion of Canada is the head of the Entente, the defeated leader, the defeated factions of World War One who are living in exile. So number one is the Dominion of Canada. Number two is the French Republic, which is hanging out in Africa right now under Pétain. And so Canada can possibly intervene in the Second American Civil War. It almost certainly will, at least to defeat us being the future Combined Syndicates of America. So it's entirely possible that they're going to intervene, which is going to open up a whole front. We're going to be dealing with the entire faction if we do that. And it's a very, very difficult position. And it's one of those high risk, high reward things. I mean, we're going to have to deal with whatever happens. But if Canada enters the Second American Civil War against CSA, it becomes so difficult to win. It's yet another front. Very, very difficult situation. However, it also means that you could defeat Canada early in theory. It's kind of one of those things, kind of the comparison that I personally draw to it. It's kind of like how Russia went through its civil war after World War One, and at one point they're doing stuff like they were invading Poland, but the civil war was also still going on. So that's kind of what could end up happening with Canada, where we might end up having to be at war with Canada and invading them while we are still fighting fellow Americans. So we'll just have to see how it plays out, but definitely keep an eye out on Canada. And what I will just say as well is, if they are the ones who force us into something, I promise you we are going to absorb them as a country. We're not going to liberate a free Canada. We'll just absorb them. And yes, I know that probably will cost like political power and stability and stuff. But that's what's going on. You're asking about Peru. Is Peru at war or Paraguay right now? No, not at the moment. Por Paraguay. No, this stuff has not popped off. I'm going to be really interested. I'm going to try to check in periodically on what's going on in South America, because I do not plan on getting involved down there. Of course, we don't know who they will ally with. Obviously, if something happens where like Brazil joins the Reichspakt, then you better believe the Marines are heading south. And I think we're going to do a lot of good work with the Marines in this graduation campaign. I'm definitely going to be prioritizing them as like a special operations group, and how they work, their island hopping, their stuff. They're going to be key. We must secure the Caribbean. By the way, oh my God, did anybody see Julian Allred? The one who won the 100-meter gold, and then she silvered in the 200 after doing that on tired legs. My goodness. I was watching that with a couple of friends, And one of them said, oh my gosh, she's... Wait, no, it wasn't about her. It was actually about somebody else. But he was going, oh my gosh, look at her. She's freaking beautiful, man. And her skin is so dark. And I went, hey, you don't need to repeat yourself. It is, yeah. Oof. Anyway, as if she would ever look at me. She's like, oh my god, aren't you like... For some reason, she's from the Caribbean, but she has a Cali accent. She's just like, oh my god, aren't you like CHG? How about we try to get out of this focus, huh? You know, just the whole chat is just, oh boy, sounds like CHG can't graduate soon enough. U.S. has been cracked. Well, the U.S. specializes in sports that there are a lot of events for. So there's tons of swimming sports. There's tons of track and field sports, or events, I should say. Because, I mean, my gosh, with track, you know, it's like, okay, you got the 100, the 200, the 400, the 1500. The relays, you've got like the 4x4, the 4x100, the 4x400s, I mean, the 4x100. You've got the mixed gender one, which by the way, did I miss something? Is it now mandatory you have to do boy girl on the mixed gender relay? Did that happen only in like the last 2 years? I feel like I missed, or was that just specifically for the Olympics? Because I swear, just a couple of years ago, I remember you could still do the mixed gender relay, and you could do them in any order. So you can go like boy, girl, girl, boy, whatever, you know. But yeah, U.S. not winning in shooting, shameful. I think we as a nation need to, you know, take a hard look in the mirror here. All right, so let's take a look at the status of our army, and then we're going to look at Black Monday, which is, of course, a huge event in the Kaiserreich world. Also, Afghanistan has begun its war, which is always a treat to see how this plays out. But it's interesting at times to see what happens. You know? So the defense of the United States has always been an uphill battle. Stretched thin against the vast breadth of the North American continent, the United States Army has had little chance to distinguish itself throughout its 160-year history. It won the bare minimum of victories to maintain American independence during the Revolution and the War of 1812. All right, time out. Here's the interesting thing about the American Revolution, and admittedly, I'm not an expert on the American Revolution. Get back to me in like 4 years. I'll probably spend more time reading it. About it, but the George Washington, I think, only won 3 battles in the American Revolution. That was Trenton, Princeton, and of course Yorktown. And like Yorktown, I don't know. You gotta give at least 25%, probably 50%, probably more to the French on that one. Although Washington, you know, the famous crossing the Delaware. I joke with a friend sometimes that just like, yeah, Christmas, America's birthday, because that's when Washington got that big win against the Hessians. Like, you know, so my friend will joke like, heck yeah, Christmas, America's birthday. The Germans never saw it coming, and it's true. It's funny said. It's a funny thing to say, but it's true. Okay, continuing on. It performed admirably against a corrupt regime in the Mexican-American War, but half of those forces would provide seed for the fledgling Confederate Army during the ensuing Civil War. Time out again. So, the corrupt regime in Mexico, allegedly, that is such a complex issue that y'all don't want me to get started on it, because we'd be here for hours, just hours upon hours. In short, Mexico was going through it. Mexico is often going through it. I mean, Santa Anna came back. Nobody likes when Santa Anna comes back. Ask any Mexican. But and in fact, my grandfather, he's often told me about how when he was learning Mexican history at university, his he had a professor who would say, he's like, "Guess what, everybody? Santa Anna's back," and the class would go, "Oh," because like Santa Anna, recurring character when you're certainly when you're talking about the first few decades after Mexican independence happened, is Santa Anna's back again. um, but then it's interesting how it says half of those forces would provide the siege for the fledgling Confederate Army during the ensuing Civil War. That's a big part of the U.S. war with Mexico is how so many of the famous generals, got cut their teeth in Mexico. Grant and Lee, of course, but gosh, I'm trying to think here. Like, Pickett was down there. Jackson met his wife down there. Who's that one Union general? I'm blanking out right now because I've been drinking. He ran for president on the Democratic ticket. Was it against Grant? I'm sorry. Hancock. Let me double check that. Hancock. And so many. So Mexico was... Now, the U.S. war with Mexico was what the fuck? No, I don't want the goddamn Will Smith crap. No, Let me try typing in General Hancock. Gosh, Hancock, the film. That's a film that needs to be lost to history. Winfield Scott Hancock. That was what I was trying to say. But the U.S. war with Mexico, obviously hugely important and controversial war. We're not going to talk about it too much here. But Winfield Scott, Zachary Taylor, so many. In terms of strictly military history, I'm a big believer that the U.S. war with Mexico is an utterly fascinating and interesting fight, because Mexico was more prepared than I think people like to think. People are like, "Oh, of course Mexico lost the U.S." These fucking morons like, oh gosh, I have been drinking. But that fucking alt history dude, like, "Oh, Mexico always was going to lose to the United States. It was overdetermined." Mexico was, the war with Mexico was essentially West Point justifying its existence. But there's a lot of it. If you're just somebody who just wants to neutrally study tactics, the Mexico City campaign that the U.S. did, the conquest of Mexico City, astounding. And like the U.S. war with Mexico spawned the first anti-war movements in American history, unless you want to count like the Tories during the Revolution. But it's kind of hard to get an anti-war movement traction when like your army is just marching from victory to victory to victory, like the American armies were against Mexico. Which is not to say the Mexican armies weren't. Okay, this is good. We're supposed to be reading this damn thing. Let's keep moving. Sorry. More recently, the army performed barely adequately to subdue the heavily outgunned Spanish and struggled to suppress the half-starved Filipino insurrection more than 30 years ago. So, to make a long story short, out here in the Philippines, the United States was putting down an uprising after they took this land following the Spanish-American War. If I remember correctly, more Americans died putting down the insurrection of the Filipinos than died during the Spanish-American War, which is where they acquired the Philippines. Anyway, prevented from joining in the Weltkrieg on either side, it has suffered in both doctrine and technology, with very few tanks and a small air corps subsidiary to the ground forces, with the hobbled lion that was the British Empire on the northern frontier and a syndicalist stronghold poised in the south. The U.S. Army must be asked to defend the Republic from enemies within and without, and few agree that they are up to the task, so they'll have to suffice. Okay. So, there's another Anglo-Afghani war. I mean, you just know how it is. I know that we don't like that people kind of culturally, we've decided we all hate the BBC Sherlock Holmes, even though the one with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman as Watson. Even though there were some strengths to the show, it certainly had its problems, I'll be the first to say, but there was goodness in about it. But the show immediately gripped me. I remember when I watched season 1, episode 1, when it had Watson getting injured as part of the British expeditionary forces that were in Afghanistan, because Watson also was originally wounded in Afghanistan, and I just thought that that was just a quick thing where it's like, England, it is the year 2010. Britain is still in Afghanistan. And just that kind of little thing I thought was great. Uh, and then many people would say that's when the show peaked. It literally all went downhill. And again, the first 30 seconds of the show were great, and then it all went to shit. Oh gosh, the cutscene. But anyway, let's talk about this Black Monday here. He just became Coomer bait for gay romance. Yeah, and the Sherlock Holmes Watson thing has always been that. I mean, goodness gracious, look at the one with Jude, where Robert Downey Jr. is Sherlock and Jude Law is Watson, and I like those a lot. I like those movies, especially number 2, Game of Shadows. Game of Shadows is, I think, criminally underrated. Big time, what do you call it? Yaoi bait, for the Fujoshis. My goodness, when Robert Downey Jr. is wearing all that like makeup, he's just got it caked on his face, and he takes off his clothes, and he's in his underwear, and he's laying on the train, and he's just, Watson, lay with me, Watson. It's a look. We know what this is for. Okay, so Black Monday. On the 3rd of February, 1936, wait, hold on. This is the International Herald, so we gotta do like that mid-Atlantic, news flash. Black Monday. On the 3rd of February, 1936, the Berlin Stock Exchange stopped sinking. It plunged. Fueled by the instability of the market, panic selling erupted as soon as the stock market opened on Monday morning. It took well into the night for the teleprinters to stop sputtering out the results of what became known as Black Monday. When the results had been analyzed, it was clear that the situation had only gotten worse. The shock of this unprecedented economic catastrophe will, no doubt, be felt over the entire world. The German Golden Age has ended. For now, at least. Mein Gott. Also, those Sherlock Holmes, that had Hans Zimmer on the soundtrack. Although Hans Zimmer, he's got good stuff. Nobody can deny it. But man, him and Nolan just been sniffing their own farts for years. Having said that, Oppenheimer is great. Oppenheimer's great. A lot of the work he did, that Hans Zimmer did for Dune, was great, but my goodness. Anyway, let's see what Hoover can do about the Depression. So the Great Depression is hit, we're in stock market crash overdrive. We're like on our second. It's like, yo, I heard you like a Great Depression, so we've now inserted a Great Depression into your Great Depression, so you're depressed while you're depressed. So now what Hoover and the Congress under Hoover is going to attempt to do is we're going to introduce the Garner-Wagner bill. While originally vetoed in 1932, the economic situation in America has deteriorated to the point where unemployment relief efforts are seen as the only way to prevent widespread collapse. President Hoover has indicated to the Democrats in Congress that this time he will not veto the Garner-Wagner relief bill. Or like, okay, guys, I'm sorry, which implies he vetoed it before. Sorry I did that, guys, but I won't again. So let's keep moving. All right, so, revolution has swept Russia. What? Oh, they are now radical socialists. I didn't know this was possible. What? Wasn't there like a syndicalist path you used to be able to do, but like Rykov, but they're not popular. What? What the hell just happened? The Russian Socialist Republic? What is happening right now? What? I didn't know this was a thing! The socialist-leaning coalition led by Viktor Chernov posed an immense threat to the right and the military. So ultimately, army officers led by Kornilov and others launched a coup detaining Chernov and dissolving the Duma. But that's an army coup. However, it seems that the army vastly overestimated its support Massive protests and armed insurrections proved fatal against Kordolov's coup, which was forced to surrender Moscow to the left-wing forces. In the blink of an eye, socialism in Russia has rose up again. It's probably supposed to say risen up again. And its impact will no doubt be felt across Europe. Has the world revolution really arrived? Wow. And, okay, and then there's some stuff in France, but wow. How popular... Okay. 17% popularity. Political deadlock. I haven't even looked at their tree in years. It's kind of a small tree. This probably doesn't happen much. What the heck? Proletarian. Okay, so they're gonna go proletarian humanism. So they'll have political power. What the heck? I mean, that's it. That's the tree. This is fascinating because you guys remember Russia was the first country I used to play when I first was introduced to Kaiserreich. Like, here's what the old heads are. Do y'all remember when Siberia could break away as an independent country and it would be brown? Hey Tam, good to see you. Hope everything's going well in Poland and with the postal service. Wow. But like, it's interesting that the tree is so small because I remember people used to always say like if you wanted to go leftist Russia, you need to do the Soviet, like you need to do the Civil War because it's a better tree than the Russia tree. Fascinating. Well, that's going to be huge for us. Well, Russia was going to... Actually, maybe not. Russia was going to attack from the east no matter what, but that literally prevents World War III if they stay to the left and they join the Internationale. Then we won't have to drive to Moscow. Okay, meanwhile, what's happening in France? France looks like it's pretty syndicalist here. Ooh, you broke your leg. Dang, Tam. I hope you're okay. Hope it's not been complicated in anything serious. All right, let's read electoral gridlock in France and then do an idle meeting. So the Commune of France is the world's leading socialist state, united as a federation of city communes and directed by the Comité de Salut Public, the chief executive. Ever since its inception, however, the Second Commune was now uniform in its policy. Numerous factions arose, each one with their own idea of which path France should take. As the time for revenge against Germany and the World Revolution closes in, the CGT election of 1936 is said to be very important. It was so important, in fact, that none of the four factions could acquire a majority. Much like before the election, a coalition must be found, but how will this change the shape of the Commune's policies? Only the men and the CSP itself know that. Interesting. So, okay, it looks like in terms of syndicalism's got 48%, radical socialists are 31%, 17% totalists, and there's the smattering of the other crap. But a mixed government actually could be useful because, like, for example, I like to... I mean, I've played Commune of France a lot, mostly off-screen. But it's totally possible to take in the election some policies that would lead you down, that'll unlock certain trees, either your military tree or your industry tree, and then you can still have a different party win. So I will usually have the totalists win, or like get a partial victory in terms of industry for the Commune of France, and then maybe still go syndicalist. So you can kind of get kind of a best of both worlds in a way, where you'll have like let's say you stay syndicalist, you can get a good party popularity and the bonuses that come with that, but you could also get like a centralized industry system, so that helps you there. So it's interesting. Your legs have healed, the muscles are slow to come back, too long in the cast, should not have slipped. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Was it ice? I bet it was ice. Ice is an MF, man. Okay, so I am gonna go be back. I have to take a meeting. So I'll be back in 5 or so at most. All right, I'm back now, and accent on work, so you got paid, Tam. Good, good. Get that workers' comp. Do it. Okay. So let's take a deep breath. 5 o'clock, February the 5th. So we keep getting this transmission. Oh, yeah, I can right click to dismiss that. Yes, there's the war over there. Okay, so it's now been 2 days. Black Monday has now hit America. Despite the political turmoil and ineffectual economic relief programs, it seems to many as if the economy of the United States might finally be undergoing a slow recovery after the Wall Street crash in 1925. Black Monday has already put an end to such hopes and has sounded the death knell for an already ailing economy. Republicans and Democrats have both pledged to fix the economy should they win the election, though public confidence in them is rapidly waning. Both Reid and Long have rallied hard against the corrupt banking and political sectors, which they blame for allowing the crash to happen. This is just not our year. So I guess this is as good a time as any to talk about the national spirits that we are dealing with. So this is going to modify our Great Depression, making the stability worse, which is just bad overall. Consumer good factors are going to go up, which means less factories are going to be open in short. Our construction speed is going to be down 15%, so even the factories that we do have will be 15% less efficient in regards to building stuff. Our production efficiency cap is at minus 5%, so even if factory is working at optimum efficiency that it normally would have, we're doing a minus 5% to that. And our dockyard output is minus 30% as well. So you see, this shows how bad I am at like teaching this to first-timers, because we're over 2 hours into this stream now, and I'm only barely talking about this, when I always am a believer that once your first time playing a country, national spirits are what you should do first. So in a way, I should have played a new country for my last campaign, but whatever, we're here. Okay, coalition ticket. Ooh, this is actually important. So let's. I mean, all of this is important, but let me talk about this real quick, because it's not going to take long, and then we'll talk about the national spirits. But according to the coalition ticket, the 1936 election is looking to be one of the most contentious in American history. Many politicians within the upper circle of the Republican and Democratic parties fear that a victory by the Socialist Party of America or the America First Party would mean the end of America and the American way of life. In order to avoid this, a plan has been proposed within the halls of power to form a coalition ticket between the Republican and Democratic parties, with former Labor Governor Floyd Olson of Minnesota as the presidential candidate. This plan is unlikely to be popular with lower-ranking members of the parties, but it may be the only thing that can prevent the radical parties from gaining strength. So this is an interesting and fascinating thing, getting into like Floyd Olson and the coalition and stuff, but we're going to say no, that it would debase the democratic system. We're not doing that, but although perhaps, like I said, Minnesota's been in the news. Minnesota, even outside of politics, there's been some Minnesota stuff going on. Ask Anthony Edwards, Minnesotan basketball champion of the United States of America men's basketball national team. It's just so funny to me. So here's a modern politics thing that people don't know, and it's just one of those funny things how like politics can be so surreal. By the way, are people to hear me? I haven't heard anybody talk in the chat. I think I've been unmuted. I haven't even checked. But earlier this year, while we still were in 2024, the defending champions of basketball in the NBA were the Denver Nuggets from Colorado. And they were defeated in 7 games. People were like, oh, it's a blowout. The Nuggets are losing bad, but it turned into a real fight. But they were defeated in the playoffs by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And it was like, dang, the defending champions didn't even make the conference finals. And then the Minnesota state legislature, so essentially the Congress for the state level, passed this resolution declaring this day is Minnesota Timberwolves Day because of this great victory, or whatever. The kind of thing that who gives a crap, like this doesn't actually affect people's lives. Like, oh well, I'm voting for this guy because he helped create Minnesota Timberwolves Day in the state legislature. But then if you've ever read like an official ordinance or whatever, there's a lot of formal language in these sorts of things at the state level. I'm sure all over the world, certainly in America. And so they passed like a few. I'm actually trying to pull up. I've got my phone in my hand right now. Um, Excuse me. I'm actually trying to pull it up and find it because I have it here somewhere to search something. Come on, come on, no, close that. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Here we go. So this happened. Most states with their sports teams. Yeah, exactly. It's like whoever wins the World Series, whoever wins the Super Bowl, that team goes to the White House. It's only recently that started to become like much more expressly political, like whether a team goes or not. Come on, load the damn thing. My phone is moving so slowly. Where is it? Where is? Okay, I found it. Okay. So it says state of Minnesota proclamation. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says like whereas basketball has a long, rich, and sometimes painful history in Minnesota, the Minneapolis Lakers dominated in the NBA in the National Basketball Association (NBA), winning 5 champions from 1949 to 1954 before they were stolen by the coastal elites and flown to Los Angeles in 1960. The Minnesota Timberwolves were founded 29 years later, bringing professional basketball back to Minnesota in 1989. And so that's the first part of the proclamation, where they like that was so great, like this Midwest country. First thing, fuck California and fuck the East Coast too. They're just they're like, hey, we just want to throw out there. We won and they stole our shit, so fuck them. And then they talk about how the Timberwolves came in. That's the first whereas. Second whereas, reigning champion Denver Nuggets fell to the Wolves on their home court after a lively 7-game series that included the largest Game 7 comeback in NBA history. And whereas it is the first time in 20 years since the glory days of Kevin Garnett the Timberwolves have punched the big ticket to the West Conference Finals, and whereas Nas Reed, and whereas Game 1 and 2 of the Western Conference Finals will be hosted at Target Center in Minneapolis, and etc., etc. It goes on from there. But this is such a funny proclamation at so many levels, just because it's also Nas Reed. That's such a meme. Rebranding, perhaps, Tam, perhaps. That could be a good way to put it. So the first letter of every one of these whereases, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. It's BRINGYATASS. If you took the first letter of each of those proclamations. And so it spells bring ya ass, which was a thing that Anthony Edwards, who was becoming the frickin', they were trying to put him on that pedestal so quick. He's the next Jordan. Oh my God, he had an epic dunk. He's the next Jordan. Happening back there. And it's so... And this is signed by the governor, Tim Walz, the guy who's now the Democratic Party's vice presidential candidate. And he was also, I saw a screenshot that he had been tweeting, he just tweeted Nas Reed, like back during the playoffs too. Like that is just the surrealist, silly world of American politics, that like you're a governor who's signing a document that has the hidden message, bring ya ass on it. And now you could be a heartbreak away from the presidency in a few months from now. What is it? August. It's 6 months from now. One person has a heart attack, and you're the president of the United States. That is the surreality, the self-parroting satire strangeness of American politics. But I'm sure every country has its stories like that. But I just want to let you know, even in America, we think it's real weird. It was straight shit. God damn it. Yeah. Not allowed to say weird anymore. They always say it's weird. He's taking sides. Alright, let's keep moving. Incidentally, I'm just trying to keep you guys up to date, because I need to hit the gimnasio. I'm probably going to maybe be another half hour at most, so actually sooner rather than later I'll be getting off. Especially because especially when Sorry, I was catching up with the chat. But especially because I'm sure word's going to quickly spread, and I want you guys to spread it about how this channel is going to get retired. It's going to, it's graduation time. I think this is going to be a series where there's going to be more people watching each campaign video. At least I hope so. And eventually it'll concurrent viewers is what I mean. So the Dallas Stars won the Stanley Cup a few years after relocating from Minnesota. Don't mind it coming to Texas, though. Yeah. Okay, so the Gardner-Wagner bill has been reintroduced with assurances made by President Hoover that, unlike in 1932, this time he will not veto the bill, which is just Lucy holding the football for Charlie Brown, right? Like, I know what happened last time, but, come on. Democratic Senator Robert Wagner and Speaker of the House John Nance Gardner have reintroduced their unemployment relief legislation package. Many in Congress feel that the package does not go nearly far enough, while others wonder how America, in the midst of a massive economic crisis, will possibly ever pay for it. The presence of senators from the AFP and the SBA also complicates things immensely. Even with Hoover's pledge, it's unknown if Gardner-Wagner has a real chance of passing. We shall see. Real life ascension path, yeah. God, I'm getting cold. These little sniffles. I'm gonna mute again. So we were supposed to go through the national spirits. So let's see what is exactly happening. Well, America is going through a political crisis. So now we're in February 1936. Look how far we got. 2 hours. The United States is in crisis. The Great Depression, which has been ravaging our nation for over a decade, has still not let up. Popular desperation has allowed the far-left Socialist Party of America and the far-right America First Party to gain strength in recent years. Others look to MacArthur and the Army as a way to solve both the Depression and radicalization. Many worry that the United States will descend into civil war should our current situation not seem resolved. And it's basically, what does stability mean? What does war support mean? Etc., etc. Don't worry about it too much right now if you've never played Hearthstone 4 before. There's plenty of guys out there, there's plenty of people out there on the internet you can find who are going to help you learn this. But basically, there's a lot of bad stuff. The toolkit's deep in red, not good. Not good. I'm seeing some green here. Guantanamo Bay. We currently either lease or directly own important but diminutive territories around the world, such as Cuba. So it's civilian industry from target country plus 5%, whatever. But here's a lot of green. The fruits of the open door national spirit. The current setup of the legation cities benefits us the most, as we conduct much of our business and diplomacy in China through Shanghai without having to actively maintain our investments. The Japanese and Germans may have their horses in the race for Chinese dominance, but we will satisfy ourselves with getting rich. So, not this open door in New York. That's not what I was talking about. Expectations subverted. The War Department has been expanded, so we're going to get an Army experience gain of plus 10%, but Army experience gain up here, which is going to be extremely important for us later, especially if I'm going to be modifying some heavy tanks and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot to be done in a hurry. We're not getting any daily Army experience because we're not at war. So, and yeah, we're not implementing training programs, there's just nothing happening. So, this is irrelevant at the moment. But it'll matter when the switchover happens, because I think the USA holds on to this, so their armies learn quick during the war. And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, like with the role-playing aspects of all of them, like how you can the decisions of all these grand strategy games, but like here in Hearts of Iron 4, you can role play, oh, I'm doing this, which gives me these bonuses, or oh, I've decided we're going to attack into Chicago for this reason. Man, once the war begins, I'm going to be just telling the never-ending story. But how... Got that beard, you know, got to hydrate. Oh my gosh. Okay, the alert isn't going off, but Tam, I just saw your super chat. Thank you. He says, you are probably the third educational YouTuber I found because of their gaming channel. I'm beginning to see the pattern. Anyway, good luck and good night. Hope your new stuff takes off. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I think there's a like button on super chats now. What? Or, oh, I can heart it. Okay, but how do I like it? So I'm hearting your super chat, but I can't seem to like it. I didn't know that was a thing. Or the like? No, I had seen the likes. But thank you so very much. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. You know, I had to reset the... I did have to reset the YouTube connection, so we're not going to have Streamlabs for this campaign, I don't think. Well, that just means I'll have to be extra vigilant on the chat. But there should be triumphant music happening, you know. Boom, ba da ba boom. So thank you so very much. Okay. So there's the alert. Oh my gosh, I was just moving on when I heard the alert, but nothing's displaying on the screen. Oh man. Or no, there it is in the bottom right. You know what? Is it a latency issue? Gosh, they're probably watching in the future and they're going, dang, is this what one beer does to a guy? No, I promise I'm always klutzy. Sober or not, or in between. Okay, so we were talking about national spirits and this war department. But yeah, once the war begins, you know, I think that's interesting. Where it's like it's saying, you know, when the war breaks out, what are the advantages that the Federalist government has? Well, it has kind of these institutional structures, certainly a lot of the military chain of command ones and training, the logistics, gosh, logistics, that's the key to war. And that's, as you'll see, that's what I focus on mostly is logistics. Like, yeah, we'll have fun. We're going to oh, guys, check out March to the Sea 2.0. Watch my campaign through Georgia, how I draw my arrows. I'm just map painting, y'all. It's art. You know? But it's at the end of the day, it's who's making more guns, who's mobilizing their citizenry into and getting them equipped, okay, are they equipped? Can they get to the front lines? There's so many factors at play. Like, you could spend all your time, okay, I'm going to make 40 width, rock solid divisions. I'm going to be training them here in America, and then it's time for me to send them over to France. And because I don't have a plan for getting them over, I wasn't building up my Navy. The freaking German Navy catches me here in the Mid-Atlantic Gap, or probably here in the North Atlantic Ridge, actually. Catches me in the North Atlantic Ridge. No, they wouldn't be there. No, yeah, in the Western Approach. Yeah, because they'll probably go like this. But it catches me in the Western Approaches. Some submarines, boom, boom. There goes my convoys, my troop transports. 24 divisions worth of men go to the bottom. That's, I didn't have my supply, that key artery protected. And now, for the cost of some submarines, Germany just took out a whole corps or something like that. The logistical stuff, like, can you imagine being the general and you're told, hey, you need to come up with some of your micro level tactics that'll make up for the 24 divisions we just lost at sea because of the naval fuck up. So logistics is going to be so key. And so, like, yeah, having a war department with that sort of stuff, that's going to help you. It helps your army build experience. So with like then all other things being equal, the federalist government getting faster army experience because it's coming in out of a basis of some sort of doctrine. Even if that doctrine is wrong, it's in reaction to the doctrine that's wrong. Like you can conceptualize it that way. I think that's a cool little buff. So you see, just roleplayed all that off of army experience game plus 10%. Roleplay game. Okay, the Great Depression. The Great Depression, which has been gripping America for over a decade, etc., etc. It just says the only God and the next president know when this can be over. So our consumer goods factories factor is now at 100%. Yeah, so it's multiplying the badness here. That's happening. The construction speeds are another minus 40%, because didn't we get a minus on construction somewhere else here too? No, it was Fruits the Open Door was increasing construction speed. So increased construction speed plus 5% there, but then it's minus 40% here, so we're at a minus 35% net. Another minus 20 on production efficiency cap, and then minus 80% on dockyard output. So let's now check in on that cruiser that was going to be finished October 25th, 1938. Oh gosh, I didn't see what the name of it was. Was it the Bagley class? I actually do not remember which one it is. But look at these finishing times now. There's in 1939, 1942, 1947, 48, 49. There's 36, 37, 37. But the point is, you know, you're the government and you're saying, when is the USS Quincy? You know, we were talking about John Quincy Adams earlier. See how it all connects? We're talking about John Quincy Adams and then the USS Quincy. Maybe the administration has for some reason decided, John Quincy Adams was the guy before me. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is what it is. This is what it is. Guys, we're building lore right now. These games are incredible. So the USS Quincy was specifically, it was sent down the chain of command. Hoover wants, I want a ship. I want it built by the government. Obviously government contract, naval ship, going to be our pride and joy. And I'm going to name it after John Quincy Adams. And why not John Adams? Well, because when you hear John Adams, you think of the father, of course. Although John Quincy Adams was, of course, his own man, as John Adams would have wanted. But you specifically say Quincy, and you're invoking him. And then people will say, you know why Hoover did that? This is what the historians of this world would say. Hoover commissioned that ship because, you know, he wanted to put some positivity on Quincy's name, the corrupt bargain, and like normalize and make, oh no, it was good actually, the way I came into power. That's how it's done. Damn. Get it? One day you'll say, I used to listen to CHG. I saw CHG's last stream live. For moments like that. Moments so good, the chat is speechless. So yeah, we just built some lore there. Okay. Crime spree sweeps the nation, speaking of lore. As America spirals ever deeper into chaos, there has been a wave of crime throughout the country. Many of these criminals are getting sensationalist news stories about their activities, especially gangsters like John Dillinger and the scandalous Bonnie and Clyde. Anyone know that song? Thankfully, the Bureau of Investigation has been working hard to catch these criminals and bring some order back to America. Of course, the AFP and SPA have begun attributing these crimes to moral decline and robber barons, respectively. Stop right there, criminal scum. So this is going to bring our stability down by another 5%. So why does that matter? Why does that matter? Let's talk about stability. Now, stability represents the people's support for the current government. High stability makes political changes easier to push through and helps the economy run smoothly. So what does that mean quantifiably? I mean, qualitatively, it's obvious. This is okay. When your stability's bad, it makes changing the situation that you were in harder. So you can end up in a tailspin. And we're at negative 19% at the moment. And but quantitatively, at the moment, our effects from current stability is we are losing minus 13% political power a day. So that's that's the most direct of how you need political power to pay for things to make your economy better and whatnot. But now it's going to be harder to make that change because you're already in the midst of the struggle. And so, of course, because we're playing the United States of America, and I am an American, I was raised American, this is where I have to bring up Benjamin Franklin, one of our founding fathers. Because, this might sound strange to some people here listening to this. They're like, I'm American, CHG, I know this shit already. I look at my YouTube stuff, I have an international following. It's a world market. There's people here who weren't raised in American schools, who don't know American lore. And if you're somebody who appreciates, if you're an American and you appreciate, when I'm talking about Zaire, or when I'm playing through India for the 4th time and I'm saying like, oh, this is who Bose was and this is how he died, or like I'm explaining something. If you appreciate when I do that, don't be so centered on yourself, Americans. Come on, got to do it for the ones over the pond too. So anyway, Benjamin Franklin, founding father. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Is the chat even working? See, YouTube's always making tiny little tweaks here and there, so I don't know if I'm correctly. Oops. And so that's essentially what stability is about. If you can get that, keep your stability up, and it makes the changes easier in this game. In a way, but then some people say, depending on the path, maybe it's like, well, you actually got to drive stability down, trigger a moment, and then afterwards you can rebuild faster. So it kind of depends. So anyway. That's just the first. So we got a minus 13% political power gain. Our factory and dockyard outputs are both currently at minus 27.7%. So, making less guns. The factories that we have, they're not doing as much. And also resistance target in occupied territories, 11%. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure on how that is mechanically applied in terms of percentages. Because you guys know sometimes when they do the multiplicative, they get a little weird about it. In mods and the vanilla and stuff with how the things are calculated. So sometimes 11% means additive, sometimes it's 0.11 is what they mean. We'll see. But it's not good. And we don't have occupied territories at the moment. But when the Second American Civil War breaks out, there's going to be parts of the country that acknowledge different faction as being the true heir, so to speak. So we're not going to be able to call on the general populace. We're not going to have the support of the general populace when we're moving through like Colorado or like Kansas, compared to the kind of support we're going to have very easily in like Illinois or Michigan. So there's going to be resistance, and that's going to cost equipment, it's going to cost manpower, all those things. Oh, there's the alert! From Blood Rider 1914, thank you so very much. There's a balloon and a one on there. That's great. It's been years since I've watched you, but I'm excited to see how this one last ride pans out. Thanks for all your fantastic videos through the years. Thank you. That means a lot. I wouldn't have stuck it around without the fans. Yeah, that's just what it comes down to. The fans who had to I had to reset from the 2,000 who were there when I had to do the great reset and start from zero again. And gosh, I remember there's so many comments. I remember there was one especially. I remember his name. I remember his profile picture at the time. He had like a Heisenberg modified, and he would just come into, or maybe she, I don't know. I say he because it had a Heisenberg profile picture, but would get in the chat or get in the comments on videos that sometimes weren't even related, saying, "Why'd you delete? Why'd you do it? Why are you doing that? Didn't work out. It's dumb." Oh, Bloodworm, your first ever super chat? What? Oh, no. Okay, so I clicked it because this YouTube studio is telling me, let's celebrate their first super on a live stream. And then I click it, and then it pulled up a drop menu, but then with where my browser is, it then hovered over put user in timeout. So it's like, somebody said, let's celebrate. And I went, shush you. But thank you so very much, Blood Rider. So, you know what? Let me look at the time. I think that's a good place to start winding it down, actually. So let's create a save. There's going to be save files throughout, of course. So we're going to call this Feb 13th. I wonder if it was a Friday the 13th. Feb 13th. Or we'll call this CSA grad in part 1. First super chat, actually. Yeah. Oh, Megatron said something, but I didn't see what. Guns Blazing, let me go to things. Thank you very much, Guns Blazing. Appreciate that. Me too. What I'll just say for the future plans is, hey, happy Valentine's Day. He's not here. Wait, no, I don't hit him pause. Dang it. Now I'm getting in the groove of the game. I almost don't want to stop, but no, I've got things I got to get done. But tomorrow, I'll promise I'll be on tomorrow. Sorry, a lot of things, but we will. Yeah, we'll bring this first one in there. So spread the word wherever the CHG people have gone after conquering. That it's winding down. And unfortunately, I can't give a hard date on it. Because I'm telling you guys, I'm not gonna stop until I finish this campaign. But I thought I would read, because I do like to think in its way this was an educating channel for people. I wanted to read the end of the Lessons of History by Will and Ariel Durant, who are definitely, it's like, if you're gonna read some historians, you could do worse than Will and Ariel Durant, to say the least. I've used their work as reference for years on end, and I like have at least 2 copies of every book of their Story of Civilization, just in case. Need a backup one, right? But I wanted to read the last 2 paragraphs of a really short book of theirs called The Lessons of History, which I already said, I'm sorry. But it's like 100 pages, and it was basically them after they had finished the Story of Civilization series, which is like thousands and thousands of pages. They went, is it possible to sum up history in 100 pages? No, but we're gonna, and it's stupid to try, but we're gonna do it anyway. And so it's a series of chapters. Chapter 13, the last one, is called "Is Progress Real?" And they're just like, what is the point of learning of history and humanity and all we've done? And so this is what I'm actually gonna read the last 3. Dang, I'm gonna end up reading the whole book. Just the last 3 paragraphs. None but a child will complain that our teachers have not yet eradicated the errors and superstitions of 10,000 years. The great experiment has just begun, and it may yet be defeated by the high birth rate of unwilling or indoctrinated ignorance. But what would be the full fruitage of instruction if every child should be schooled till at least his 20th year and should find free access to the universities, libraries, and museums that harbor and offer the intellectual and artistic treasures of the race, meaning the human race. Consider education not as the painful accumulation of facts and dates and reigns, nor merely the necessary preparation of the individual to earn his keep in the world, but as the transmission of our mental, moral, technical, and aesthetic heritage as fully as possible to as many as possible for the enlargement of man's understanding, control, embellishment, and enjoyment of life. Okay, 2 paragraphs to go. The heritage that we can now more fully transmit is richer than ever before. It is richer than that of Pericles, for it includes all the Greek flowering that followed him. Richer than Leonardo's, for it includes him and the Italian Renaissance. Richer than Voltaire's, for it embraces all the French Enlightenment in its ecumenical dissemination. If progress is real, despite our whining, it is not because we are born any healthier, better, or wiser than infants were in the past, but because we are born to a richer heritage, born on a higher level of that pedestal, which the accumulation of knowledge and art raises the ground and support of our being. The heritage rises and man rises in proportion as he receives it. Okay, last paragraph. History is above all else the creation and recording of that heritage. Progress is its increasing abundance, preservation, transmission, and use. To those of us who study history not merely as a warning reminder of man's follies and crimes, but also as an encouraging remembrance of generative souls, the past ceases to be a depressing chamber of horrors. It becomes a celestial city, a spacious country of the mind, wherein 1,000 saints, statesmen, inventors, scientists, poets, artists, musicians, lovers, and philosophers still live and speak, teach, and carve and sing. The historian will not mourn, because he can see no meaning in human existence except that which man puts into it. Let it be our pride that we ourselves may put meaning into our lives, and sometimes a significance that transcends death. If a man is fortunate, he will, before he dies, gather up as much as he can of his civilized heritage and transmit it to his children. And to his final breath, he will be grateful for this inexhaustible legacy, knowing that it is our nourishing mother and our lasting life. Okay, there it is. Sorry, I don't know how... My gosh, how long was I reading that for? Gosh, that was what, 8 minutes? 8 minutes since I last checked the clock anyway. So that's it. I'll see you guys Feb 14th, 1936. As I said, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. And thank you, Caitlin Lee. I agree. Yeah, it's great. I mean, you write a few thousand pages about history, Will and Ariel, and then you kind of can, but also to be able to condense it. It's really good. So I probably should start getting the habit of putting up a schedule even for the last thing, but I kind of want this last campaign. It's definitely going to be very guerrilla. I'm going to tentatively say 9 a.m. Eastern. No, because I need I got to make some phone calls in the morning. And I actually kind of want to sleep in. And it's hard for me to sleep in, so it means I need to stay up late tonight. I'm not gonna stream more tonight though. I'm like booked literally like until midnight. let's tentatively say noon Eastern Standard Time. So that'd be noon, 11 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, or no, 11. What did I say? 11? Or no, noon. Excuse me, noon 11. That would be 10. I went -2 twice. That'd be 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm gonna tentatively say noon Eastern, but it's gonna be very good right now. And it's gonna depend on some phone calls. So, and who knows? Maybe someday I'll stream twice a day. But I'll see you tomorrow. I feel like I need to sign off. I'll see you tomorrow when we'll rise and shine.